Tonight, an investigation is underway into the NFL's treatment of female employees. Led by New York's Attorney General Letitia James and the AG in California, this probe will look into allegations of workplace discrimination and pay inequities. This comes a year after the New York Times spoke with more than 30 current and former NFL employees who described the work culture as demoralizing. How will an investigation like this play out?
Well, I think it's going to start with the, Attorney General's offices, whether it's in New York or California. They're going to attempt to subpoena records from the NFL and their offices, specifically as it relates to maybe some of the harassment complaints that have been filed, or maybe inequities in pay that have been alleged. Just because their product is a service like sports, like football, doesn't mean that they don't have to comply with all the rules and regulations that any other company in any other industry has to.
Right now, there is no timeline of this investigation, but subpoenas have been sent out and the league has said it will, quote, fully cooperate. Let's go live right now to our Bills and NFL insider, Vic Carucci, who has covered the league for decades. Vic, I appreciate you taking some time for us here. We were talking earlier, you've seen a big change in the league and especially the number of women in important positions within the NFL. What is different now versus, let's say, during the Super Bowl era for the Bills 30 years ago?
Oh, yeah, Michael, it's been a major shift. And that's not to say that it has evolved to the point where you could say, or they could say, they're satisfied with what's been done in terms of equity. But you have female officials. That's really where it started with the NFL in terms of the higher profile jobs. But within teams, teams hiring female coaches, hiring front office folks. And I'm not talking in support roles, but in significant like scouting and other higher level administrative roles. And I think that too has been promoted by the kind of ownership that we've seen through the years. It had mostly been an all male and of course all white male predominant situation in terms of team ownership from as you mentioned, that Super Bowl era and go back even further than that. Now you have women involved in ownership right here in Buffalo with Kim Pegula. And then, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a prominent female ownership, the Detroit Lions, just involvement, the Cleveland Browns. I think those voices have had a lot to do with it. And the league started a diversity committee of which Kim Pegula was a part that also prompted, I think, a lot of these hiring changes. I know that doesn't directly speak to the charges that have come up here or the questions that have been raised in New York and in California at the league office level and at the NFL Network level, but it is still worth noting.
Yeah, it's important context as we kind of process all this. The league is in charge of a lot, Vic, but you do have these 32 individual franchises as well. There have been a number of gender discrimination scandals with certain teams. How does that factor into all of this? It seems like this is focused more on sort of the league office, the league headquarters, but that's still in people's mind.
Yeah, and it's happened at the team level. We know the Washington Commanders are in the process of being sold largely because of a lot of controversy within the building, and a lot of these issues that we're describing here were sexual harassment and so forth were apparently rampant there, or at least to the point, and the New York Times and other journalistic outlets have done investigative reporting on this, as well as the Carolina Panthers before that. They too were sold because of behavioral issues involving ownership there, Jerry Richardson. So I think when you look at it, you can say maybe there's in some places pockets progress, but in others this has to be of concern. But for me, as someone who's been around this league a long time, I definitely have seen a continued change and opportunities growing for where they weren't there before, especially in the coaching level, the predominant football areas that were pretty much male only.
Yeah, Vic Carucci is our Bills and NFL insider here at Channel 2. We'll continue to follow this story as those subpoenas get issued and get responded to. Vic, thanks for your time.
My pleasure.